He couldn't even finish his school. My mom is illiterate, and when I came out to them, they accepted me so easily. There was no drama, and I was surprised that so Shuchi Talati actually she had seen the film during the rough cut, and she loved it. So,
And you're talking about the Sundance lab.
no, not Sundance, but the lab like NFDC labs.
Okay, so any labs. Okay.
Yeah. So NFDC Screenwriters Lab, then we were part of Film London Production Finance Market, because before this script I had written few feature expecting, okay, I'll make it and this and that, but things didn't work out. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I said that, I want to make my first feature.
Tell us your dreams, hopes, biggest fears. Rohan Kanawade's film Sabar Bonda is going to be the first Marathi film to premiere at the prestigious Sundance Film Festival. The showing is on the 26th of January 2025. So just before he leaves for Sundance, we said we'll catch up in Warsaw.
Yeah.
How are you, Rohan? Thank you so much for coming to Just to Filmy. It means a lot.
Thank you so much.
I have memories of taking your name at the Kashish Film Festival stage, where you've repeatedly been a winner. And I remember, you for Usha was something that was a film that was widely appreciated. How does it feel now to actually present your first feature? Like, what has changed for you?
A lot of things actually, maybe this also. And yeah. yeah. We've been doing this since like past few days, and that's something new. So I'm still adjusting to this promotion things. No, I still remember when we finished Usha and we were screening it in Iris Prize, and so and when I was there with Neeraj, who's the primary producer on this as well, and he asked me there, tell me where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I said that, I want to make my first feature. And I was just telling him a few days back, do you remember you had asked me that question? And he was like, yeah. And like, see, so finally we have our first feature. So yeah, from Usha to this was a really long journey, but we knew what we wanted to do, and thankfully things happened with this film. And so having this first feature and that too at Sundance is something literally, when you hear people saying dream come true, and I can now actually say that for myself also, that it is literally a dream come true.
Talk to us about how you got your feature to be at Sundance, because I'm sure that a lot of people watching my show are very interested in understanding how can a filmmaker who has a certain voice actually get a platform like this. Tell us how you got to Sundance.
See, when I started writing this script, it was literally like, I had no expectation, because before this script I had written few feature expecting, okay, I'll make it and this and that, but things didn't work out. So with this film I was like, I don't have any expectation. I don't know if I'll get to make it or no, but I want to write it because I was feeling really nice when I was writing this. So it was just that I'll just write it to feel nice. And then all this journey with labs and markets started, and we were like, okay, this is happening, so it is nice. So that also gave us confidence. Okay, now we should keep working toward making the film now, and that helped. And also, going to the labs was also our goal since the beginning, because we knew that this will give the film visibility. So,
and you're talking about the Sundance lab?
No, not Sundance, but the lab like NFDC labs.
Okay, so any labs. Okay.
Yeah. So NFDC Screenwriters Lab, then we were part of Film London Production Finance Market, then Venice Biennale College Cinema, and Venice Gap Financing Market, NFDC Co-Production Market. And when we shot the film and we were in the post-production stage, we were part of Goes to Cannes section. So all this gave the film visibility. And when so Shuchi Talati actually she had seen the film during the rough cut and she loved it, and she actually introduced us to Sundance, and she told them, there's this film and I think you guys should watch it. And that's when Kim Yutani, who's the director of programming, she replied that please send me the link, I want to watch it right now. And the next day, Kim messaged me saying, I want to get on a call. And I was like, okay. Usually these kind of conversations happen through emails. And I was like, Kim wants to get on a call. That's something important. And then like, okay, let's get on a call. And so me and Neeraj, we called her, and she said, I love the film and I want to launch it. So I think, more than anything, we had the goal that we want to take our film to the international platforms. That was the goal. But at the same time, we had a specific vision for this film, that this is how we want to make that film. And actually, I think that vision is taking this film everywhere and nothing else. So I think having that unique vision, your own voice is most important, is what I feel.
What I love about you as a filmmaker is that, you know, your queerness is a part of your life as well as your cinema. And it's something that you've consistently brought to the fore. Whether it is Usha or whether it's Sabar Bonda, these are films that has protagonists actually dealing with the fact that they're living these lives. And the wonderful thing is that you've always based these stories or rooted these stories in a strata that weirdly people think would escape queerness, and that is so weird, like, because ultimately it's not a product or a function of class. Why is that important to you, Rohan?
Because when I was watching queer cinema earlier, in like few years back, we could only see the international queer films, and then people, when they started making queer films here, I always felt this is, you can see the impressions of those films.
Yes.
These films don't feel like they have, someone has written it specifically that shows queer lives in India. So the kind of struggles and acceptance that we used to see in those, and that we saw it here also. And when I came out to my parents, like my dad was a driver. He couldn't even finish his school. My mom is illiterate. And when I came out to them, they accepted me so easily. There was no drama. And I was surprised that all the drama stories that I heard, nothing happened here. And I was like, oh, then why don't we see this ever on the screen? And that's why I wanted to use my background, where I grew up, my parents, moments that I had with my parents in the film, so that, they feel, so the other people who are from the same strata, they feel, okay, this is me, maybe this is my story.
Yeah.
And that is why I like to use my own experiences in the film, so that people can connect with it. And then it was also important to ground this story in our own soil. So when I was actually mourning my father, going through all these rituals, I felt I think this is the right thing, and setting and background, so that this is so specific to India, and through this, how I can weave this queer romance story and make it our own. So that was important.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, I loved it. It also weirdly took me back to Payal's magic realism moment. And I don't want to give you too many spoilers, but you must watch the film, and that film will have its own journey. But it's so wonderful to have this medium, right, where you can imagine the conversations that you could never have.
Yeah.
And I think that was, to me, one of the most beautiful parts of your film. However, I must also say that there is a romance at this point for the non-city life. And I think it's been a theme for some of the most successful films. And when I say successful, I don't mean box office success. I mean the films that have touched me. Successful according to Rohini Ramnath, and I'm sorry, I'm being very specific. You take a Lapata Ladies, or if you take All We Imagine Is Light, or even if we take your film, there is this beautiful stillness in the films. But that has always been your style. It's not something I would say is because ये चलन है. ये हमेशा से आपकी एक world view रही है. What happens to characters when they leave the city and they go into these spaces which are designed to be slower? Why is the village life important to you?
Since Usha, I've been making my films in rural areas, and with Usha, it was a different reason. With Usha, it was actually Chaya Kadam who wanted to play a role like that, like Usha's, and that's when she told me that please write something for me, and that's when I wrote that script. So I didn't have any inclination to write a story, queer story set in rural area, but with this, because of my own experience, I had to write it. And when I went to the village, I remember when my mom said, okay, we have to go to the village for 10 days because all the relatives are there, and so that at least they can come and meet us there, and they can be part of the 10th day ritual. And so I had no option. And before that, for almost 10 years, I had avoided going to the village because everyone talks about marriage. And I wanted to avoid that. When my dad was there, I knew I have to go, and everyone is going to pester me with this question, and I have to now deal with it.
Yes.
But the thing was, I had to just keep quiet over there because I knew if I tell them anything, I don't know how they will react. And then more than my mom needs all the relatives because she's the one who's really connected with them. She talks to them every day. So I didn't want to ruin anything. So I had to just keep quiet, endure the pressure, because every day strangers. They were strangers for me because I had no idea who they were, and they're like so many relatives, so many relatives. So for me, they were strangers, and they would just ask, "Oh, 30 का हो गया? अभी तक शादी नहीं किया?" And I had to just keep quiet.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I have to just endure this and go back. And that's when I had this thought: what if I had a friend over here who knew about me? I would have just escaped this pressure and house for a while and be relaxed. Yeah. So that made me thinking, and that's how I got this story to set in a rural and where this character feels like a fish out of water, and but he still has have to live. And when I was thinking about this idea, I didn't have Baya's character. So I was thinking about it. So will Baya be this Anand's childhood friend? What? So when I was doing all those things, I came across this fact that farmers are not finding brides nowadays. So many farmers stay unmarried for a very long time because women want either city-based groom or someone who has an office job, no farmer. So I thought, oh, this is interesting because I know there's so many gay guys in the farmer community. And what if this situation actually helps them to stay unmarried without saying anything? Correct. And what if this boy meets this guy who comes to the village for the morning? Will they connect again? And then what will happen between them? So those were the thoughts that made me actually, they intrigued me to explore this story in rural area with this character. And also the character who's sure about himself. He's not questioning his sexuality. Correct. They know how they want to live their life. Yeah. So these things were important, and then setting them in that rural part with all the customs and all this background, it just happened. It was nothing that I thought that I will do these things. So it just happened.
Another thing I enjoy about your movies is the way you let your film unfold. You know, there is very minimal camera movement. There's almost this documentary feel. And I must ask you, how do you find these amazing actors? Please tell me that did you take this motley crew to, you know, the villages and shoot with them? Or were they actually, you know, people you knew since your childhood and you decided, okay, let's shoot the scene? Because the acting is so authentic. I'm really intrigued. Please tell me.
So this, what you're saying, thank you for saying that. And I am so happy that people are really experiencing the quality of the acting. And actually this was important that this film looks ultra real. Because of the treatment of it, it needed to look like in certain way. And this was the
design, yeah?
By design, and even the casting director knew it. So he's the same casting director who did casting for Disciple. So, but it was difficult for him because we had also very specific look for both the actors. And that made our choices so narrowed. And then there were many people were not ready even to come for an audition. So, but then when one of my actor friend, Abhay Kulkarni, actually shared Bhushan's Instagram profile, and I was like, this is what I want. Yeah. I want to audition him. And then when Bhushan came for the audition, he was so good. He's a trained actor. He's a theater actor. So.
And he looks so much like you.
that just happened.
Let's show a photo of you. Well, you can see, you know, him and a photo of Bhushan. It's crazy.
No, I mean,
curly hair, this beard. At some points, I mean, until I watched, I don't like to read too much about a film before I watch it, because I want to first watch the film. After that, my research begins. All right. And that's when I realized that this is very autobiographical. This is almost your own story. And except, of course, the premise is your own story. Yeah. But that, I noticed that.
even my partner's nephew, who's just 4-year-old, when he saw that still, he's like, Rohan, that's you. Yes. I'm like, no, that's not. No, Rohan, that's you. So yeah, I mean, that just happened. I mean, we are just lucky. We just found someone who slightly looks like me. That just happened. So yeah, but so he was so good, and we just said, oh, he's playing Anand. And then I asked him that, Bhushan, I mean, I'm sure you have a lot of actor friends. Do you know any actor from that region where we are shooting the film? And he said, yeah, my friend is from Sangamner. And Sangamner, so this place is just 15 minutes away from where we shot the film. I was like, I want to see him. And then he showed me Suraj's picture. And I was like, yeah, I want him. And then I called him to hear his voice. And he has the dialect, which I needed. And then next day I asked him to come and meet me next day. He came, and even he was ready to play the part. And thankfully, actually, the other thing that worked out, that these two guys are friends. They did acting. They studied acting together. They even work in plays together. So I was like, this is great. I mean, they are already friends, and we can actually use that chemistry here to build on. And so all these things really happened, and I'm really lucky to have this actor. What I told them, just be simple. You don't have to show that you are so great actor. कुछ नहीं दिखाना है. Just be simple. How you will react to this situation in your real life? Because you know what, important thing that they said, that the way these two guys experience this pressure of marriage, but it's not limited to only queer people. It's also the heterosexuals
Of
are
course,
facing,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
don't want to get married. Most of them are not stable in their life, so they don't want to marry.
Correct.
And I think we also feel the same thing. So that was also
No,
easy.
the other cast. I'm talking about the relatives.
Yeah,
Every
so-
relative's house you went to, we felt like we were going to a relative's house.
So for initially I wanted non-actors for the relatives part, but I was not getting the kind of days I needed to shoot with the non-actors. And then I told my casting director that, you know what, better we
Just
go
get
to
actors.
this. No, we'll go to these areas. We'll go and approach the local theater groups. So they know acting. They are
Wonderful.
local. They have language. Everything. So we started doing that and started auditioning people from those groups, and that's how we got them. And actually with them also, when they started, so we used to do a lot of readings online. So when they used to start reading the dialogues, they used to be like here, and then I had to bring them literally on the ground, and they all said, Rohan, हम लोगों ने इतना साधा एक्टिंग आज तक नहीं किया है.
I totally get it. I totally get it. When I watch your films, I'm very curious to know what films did you grow up watching and who are your influences? Simply because I feel that there is so much of a uniqueness in your style that it doesn't seem like it came from mainstream cinema. So.
But although I used to watch, because my dad used to always take us to the cinema to
Yeah,
watch movies, so it was Bollywood, and I think we only watched one Hollywood film, which was Jurassic Park, which actually made me I started loving sound. So we used to watch a lot of Bollywood. But it was only when I had my first laptop and I started making friends from in queer community. Some of them were really cinephiles. They started showing me some films which I was not aware of. And then I also joined this library called 70mm in those times. So through that library, I used to get this DVDs of world cinema, and that's how I started watching a lot of world cinema. So one of my few of my favorite filmmakers like Michael Haneke or Nuri Bilge Ceylan from Turkey, Apichatha Pong or Hirokazu Koreeda. So when I watched their film, they were like so different. They felt so different, and that's when I was like, okay, yeah, you can tell stories so different. I mean, this is not the only way to make cinema. This is also the other way. And Nuri Bilge Ceylan's films or Hirokazu Koreeda's film feels like novel, as if I'm like seeing a novel. So that inspired me to make my own story in my own way. So yeah, it was very late that I started knowing that okay, this is what I want to do, this is what interests me.
The India and Indian stories are having a moment on the world stage, and what a year we've had. 2024, actually a little before that, when Guneet and Elephant Whisperer won the Oscar, I think it set the ball in motion, and suddenly there was a spotlight. And whether it's Lapata Ladies or All We Imagine or Girls Will Be Girls, now, what does that in this time? What does it mean to a filmmaker like you who's on the brink of something like this? Does it make you feel super excited? Does it make you feel that our films have a fighting chance?
No, I think I'm like really, really happy, and I am really happy that the films that came before us, they could really put Indian films on that bigger map. And now I feel for us also it becomes a little easy, and I'm just also hopeful in a way that because of those films we'll also get get a release, and the film will come in front of the audience. So I think, yeah, I mean, Indian films are doing great, and I just hope that even after this, that Indian films will go to this bigger platforms. And I think we have good films. We always make good films. It's just now that we got that chance to really showcase and go there. So I think we should keep making good films. And I'm hopeful that producers and studios will also come forward to support this
To support it, yeah. And I think Marathi cinema has always had such a special place whether it was Court or whether it was Shwas, and
Shwas,
all
yeah.
of these films that we probably saw in the last decade.
Yeah.
And even before that, I just feel like the Marathi writing has always been so rich. And that really gives me a lot of happiness to see your film where it is at today. Any particular films from Marathi cinema that you'd like to recommend?
I mean, recommend. I don't know if I want to recommend, but I'm sure that many people have seen it, and I used to see that film a lot, which is Jaitre Jait.
Yeah, of course.
That film also in Marathi, when I saw it, oh, this is so it looks so different. Everything is so different about this film.
Yes.
The way they used music and everything was so different. That was also one film that made me excited. Oh, if ever I become a filmmaker, I want to create something so unique like that. So yeah.
Absolutely. What happens to the film once it shows at Sundance? Tell us your dreams, hopes, biggest fears.
Biggest fear is always the technical things. I just hope that everything goes well. Yeah.
Screening ठीक से smoothly हो जाए.
Yeah.
हाँ ठीक है. तो वहाँ पर लोग आपकी फिल्म देखेंगे. It's a film in competition in the drama section, which means that it's going to be competing against. Do you know your fellow nominees already?
Yeah, there are 10 other films. I've seen those films and I mean, at least read those films as a synopsis. And I'm like, it's just exciting that to be there with all of them, and also all the other big Hollywood films are also playing there. So playing there is amazing, and I'm actually excited to see the reaction of the audiences when they see it for the first time, and how because the whole world is going to be there, not only
Is it your
US.
first time at Sundance?
First time US. I mean, all my US friends used to say, Ron, you should come to US. And I used to always say, I will come there with my first feature. And finally it's happening. That's why I was saying, it literally feels like a dream come true.
Amazing.
So I'm just excited to see how audience reacts, and I want to interact with them, and let's see what questions they have there.
Amazing. I do hope that the film does wonders at Sundance, but more than that, I do hope that we get a chance to watch it. So I don't know, as of right now, guys, we're sitting on the 15th of January, 2025 in this beautiful studio in Warsaw. And I'm very excited that we're speaking right away. Because इसके बाद इस फिल्म की जर्नी जो भी होगी, we'll check back here because we started here. It's so exciting to talk to you, Rohan, and I'm so happy because I've kind of seen you, do your thing for a while now, and it's so nice to be able to have you on my show. I wish you luck and all the best for Sabar Bonda.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ronnie.
Thank you.